Okay, let's look at this thing. So my apologies for not doing this video basically at 11. I thought I had scheduled it at a different time, and I thought I had scheduled the other video first, but bottom line, I didn't. So we're going to get right into this. What this video is going to be talking about is a new bill that's basically being pushed, and it's got a lot of potential, and there's a lot of support at the Social Security Administration. And it'll either, in my opinion, get put through Congress with basically the Senate and the House pushing it, and then the president will sign, or potentially it'll be released as, essentially an SSR, social ruling, or even an emergency message by Commissioner Martin O'Malley, who's been just doing an amazing job. And it's going to save a ton of people a lot of money and get people out of debt to the U.S. Treasury. Let's go into it real quick. Let's not waste any time. All right, Channel 9 News did an investigation. You guys know about it, Samantha Manning. Washington News Bureau, August 21st, 2024. So basically, just yesterday, as of a couple minutes ago. Washington, D.C., our company-wide investigation in partnership with KFF Health News into Social Security overpayments and efforts by the government to demand the money back from beneficiaries is leading to a new action on Capitol Hill. For nearly a year, we've told you how millions of people around the country are being told they owe the government money after the Social Security Administration mistakenly overpaid billions of dollars. Sometimes people are told they owe the money years or even decades after the mistake, which is true. I get those people who will call me where they'll buy that 1 hour of time for that $250, and they'll tell me about this ridiculous overpayment that they have and what their strategy should be as they're going in front of the administrative law judge. Now, here's basically kind of the deal. Their Washington News Bureau spoke exclusively with the bill's sponsor in the House, Rep. Mike Carey, Republican, Ohio. Remember, that's an oddity too. You don't usually see Republicans standing up for Social Security recipients when it comes to creating new bills that are beneficial to Social Security recipients, especially when it comes to overpayments. The Republican identity on that was, we need to get our money back into the Social Security system, right? And the Democrat thing was, well, let's figure out a new, blah, 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 blah. The Democrats are definitely on the good guys' side when it comes to this particular agenda. The Republicans needed to work on their opinion on this one. Anyway, this Republican, though, said, what we're saying is, listen, if you couldn't get your act together and notify these people within a 3-year window, saying like, hey, SSA, if you couldn't get your shit together to tell them that they had basically an overpayment on their head and there was a 3-year window there, then you're going to have to waive that, said Carey. Your network has done a very good job. You're reporting on this issue, notifying many members of Congress. We had many of these constituents reach out to our office about these overpayments. These are people that have been playing by the rules. They've been doing everything that they thought they were supposed to do. Now, that's the end of the quote. We told you how last year, the then acting head of the SSA told Congress about 1 million people each year were impacted by overpayments, but our reporting revealed the real number is actually double that, 2 million. And that's when Commissioner Kijikazi basically notified essentially Congress that there were a bleep load amount of people that are having overpayments from the Social Security Administration, which when you think about it, if it's 2 million people owing an overpayment out of, let's say, 70 million people, that is not a good ratio. It's not a good ratio for people that owe money to the US Treasury, but it's even worse ratio for the SSA to be able to say basically that they can't do their job. Think about it. The SSA is set up to catch people who are getting a check that shouldn't be getting a check, or to catch somebody who should not be getting a check that is about to get a check. So when 2 million of 70 million people go ahead and basically, essentially have an overpayment as a result of the SSA not being able to do their job properly, and granted, sometimes it's intentional. Sometimes you have bad beneficiaries that are scamming the system. No doubt about it. Some of them are criminals, some of them have civil violations, and some of them are negligent. Some of them, they just didn't know and they effed it up. It happens. That's just what it is. That's what it is. All right. So, all right. Now, here's the deal. That's when Commissioner Kijikazi reported the million was actually around 2 million. Okay. Through your actions and through your FOIA requests, here's a quote, you realize that the number was significantly lower than the number of people that were actually being targeted by these clawbacks, said Carey. Carey said he's hoping the bill will improve the efficiency at the agency and ease the burden on millions of beneficiaries. He said he has a Democratic co-sponsor of the bill in the House, Rep. Amelia Sykes, Democrat, Ohio. Carey said he's hopeful for enough bipartisan support to eventually make it through both chambers of Congress and be signed into law. We asked Kerry about what future actions should be taken to try and stop Social Security overpayments from happening in the first place. Quote, he said, I think this is the first step, and I do think we need to make sure that the Social Security has tools that they need to make sure that this doesn't happen again, said Kerry. All right, now here's my take on this situation, just so you can understand it. If you were to know what's going on with the Supreme Court, they changed the rules and regulations so that it slows down the likelihood that the heads of these agencies can create new law. And in the sense, it's not really new law in a big title. It's more of like a little title. It's like a little L. And what that means is that they're able to change regulations of how they're applied. Supreme Court changed some of that and said, look, people can go ahead and sue. And then the judges are really supposed to figure out what changes are to be occurring as a result, or Congress is supposed to be the overall one that decides the flow of the river of ideas, or the flow of the river of how the rules are actually applied. Now, the reason that all doesn't work well as a Social Security ruling is because judges don't know the system, A. B, yes, they're neutral, more neutral than the heads of these agencies, but they don't know how they're supposed to be applied or what the problems are, how it's supposed to work out. They're not in the mix. It's fun to think that the judges are these wise owls that know everything, but they don't. Every claim that comes up and it's like a whole new area of some agency, it's like, oh, what are we going to do with this thing? What are we going to do with this thing? So the point here is that this could slow down Commissioner Martin O'Malley, the new commissioner that's in right now, from actually going ahead and passing something like this, like a 3-year rule, where they'll go ahead and waive your overpayment if it's over a 3-year spiel. In that situation, it might slow down as a result of the Supreme Court ruling for Commissioner Martin O'Malley to just come out with an executive order over the Social Security Administration. Which, when he does that and he puts stuff out and he puts it out for people to review and stuff like that, ultimately can become what's called an SSR, a Social Security rule. So, ruling really, but the bottom line is this. Here's what you need to know about why this is likely to pass and why it's so good. This is likely to pass because if the Social Security Administration missed something for 3 years, right? If they missed it, and then they found it like, oh shit, look at this. Look at what did you do? What did you do? Right? If they got into that spot and they found it, this is a nice way of saying, so sad, so sorry. We're not going to have the SSA spend employee time working on this because it doesn't make sense. Which is a smart thing because the SSA is shit out of luck when it comes to having enough employees. They need like 90,000 employees to do their job properly. They got 50,000 maybe right now. I haven't seen the newest statistics, but I can tell you this. Every single category of things that take people to do stuff at the SSA have gotten longer in wait times or more restrictive. Let me give you an example. There are now people who will call certain field offices and ask to file for disability benefits. They will tell them to call back each day to see if a spot opens on the calendar because they have limited personnel. Meaning, if you wanted to file over the phone and set a schedule and like have that appointment, good luck. Good luck. Some areas have more employees. The ones that don't, good luck. Another example. It's now taking even longer for claims to get to DDS. You remember when we were talking about this? Like, man, it's taking 14 months. This is insane. It was 15 months. It was 16 months. It was 17 months. It was 18 months going on 19 months. It's not good. It's not good. There's another thing that's going on, which is really bothering me too. I have a claimant, and I've heard this from a few other people who have called in, where the pre-effectuation interview, after you've been ruled that you meet the medical requirements for disability benefits, once you've been ruled that they have to do a non-medical review. Well, now what's happening is these individuals that are supposed to be finishing it up, finish the call, get her done, whatever. They'll call the claimant's phone from the SSA, and then before they pick up, they'll hang up, and then they'll log it as they called them all done, or they'll pick up and say, "Hello, I'm such and such," and then boop, the phone will go dead, and then nobody will call them back. So I think now that's a newer thing. The thing that they did to me over the past, 15 years that I've been in this field is that I would call the field office, and this was purely the field office. DDS wouldn't do this, but I would call the field office, and the moment somebody would pick up and go, "Hi, I'm such and such," I'd go, "Hi, I'm Attorney Walter Hnot, Disability Resolution PA, blah, 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 blah. right? And then boom, they would hang up. Oh, that would burn me. And I know a lot of you guys have experienced that. That is an SSA thing. It existed since I've been doing this. And it's just something that frustrates me so much. I wish they had a better system for figuring out it. And they do have the capacity to do it. But I just wish they had a better system for punishing those employees that will go ahead and let you answer and then they'll click the phone off. Cause that just burns me. Oh, I get so burning. Like when I wait 45 minutes to get a hold of somebody because literally there's no other person that can fix this but this person, at this extension or this whatever. When I go through all of that, right, to get to this person, and then they pick it up and I'm like, hi, I'm turning blah, 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 and they go click. I'm just like, oh, the fire burns in me. And I know it does for you guys too. But the difference is you have the extra time to sit there on the phone and just keep calling back over and over and over all day. Whereas me, like if I had to sit there for 45 minutes, I just lost a lot of money on that one claim because the SSA rep is playing a game. And that drives me up the wall because it's and I'll say this about 10 to 15% of every single day that I work. And granted, my days are long. My days are much longer than the average worker. Yeah, I've worked more hours than a 70-year-old has who only worked a 9 to 5 at this point in my life. And I haven't even hit 40 yet. And the reason actually the reason I was basically late was because I was getting an MRI scan, and I felt terrible after that MRI scan. I don't know if it's just me, out there, chopping up metal with grinders and stuff. I knew I didn't have any in my eyes, but my skin on my face felt weird. You know what I mean? So I was sitting there wondering, like, huh, maybe maybe I should have, I don't know, like scrub my face or something. But I'm not even sure what I should have done with that one. But I felt really crappy after the MRI scan. Like my body tingled all over. I was sweaty. I don't know what the deal was. Like I don't get medical treatment often because I'm always working. So the point is, with this whole situation, we have an awesome commissioner right now. We've had super shitty commissioners. Okay, Commissioner Saul was not a pro, SSA or no, not a pro claimant. He was a pro SSA guy. He would pass laws. And the thing with like Commissioner Saul, the thing with him, this is what it was just so dirty. And I got to do a video on it too. There's one attorney I really want to interview because they effed him over. They screwed him over so bad. There was so much internal BS and bias and bull that happened against him. There's one attorney that I really want to interview on this because he took him to federal court. He went all the way to Supreme Court with it. His firm, right? On basically travel, right? Being able to allow people to go ahead and switch which hearing office they were going to have based off of where they live, stuff like that. Of course, now that would never happen because everything is telephonic. You know what I mean? Like, they'll give you a judge, you're going to have that judge whether you like it or not. But unless it's like a rare small situation. But back then, he fought that thing all the way up, and then so much bias, so much stuff I heard from clerks, so much stuff I'd heard from people that were at the local FO at D, stuff like that. So much stuff I'd heard. They knew exactly who he was. They created just a persona and culture in the SSA against that one attorney, and it was just disgusting because what they were doing was allowing people to bias against pro-claimant things. And what happened with Commissioner Saul that drove me up the wall, and it just really was like it was like watching a burning building that was just, if it's like, here are the claimant's rights, and it was just pancaking down level by level over time. You could get the policy books that they had, right? Or at least, the publications, and you can look them up online, you can see it, where they would, you would have a proclaimant thing, and then the attorney would bring it up, file a lawsuit as a result of it, and then right after that year, they'd take that out. They'd change it, modify it, or whatever. That's why I really just from my standpoint, I did not like Commissioner Saul because he made it a more efficient SSA. But I don't know if you guys realize that when you're hearing that language about, like, a more efficient SSA from a guy like Commissioner Saul, that means, fewer claimant rights, fewer beneficiary rights. It's pro SSA. SSA wins again, House takes again, SSA wins again, House wins again. That, in their eyes, is a more efficient Social Security Administration. But with the new guy, Commissioner Martin O'Malley, he's finding all these amazing ways to make it efficient that's to the benefit of the claimant. I'm sitting back going like, "Why didn't we have this guy, bro? Where the hell were you?" And that's the thing. I know exactly where it was. The governor. Then he ran to be president, and now he's fixing the SSA as his ticket to become president, which I don't know if you'll ever have. I do not know if you will ever have another high-level executive like that give this much of a shit about a program that most executives care not at all about. In fact, they run away from it because it's third rail, they touch it and their political career ends. This guy is grabbing the third rail, full on in the freezing weather, sticking his tongue directly to it, and heating it up and warming it up to the point where he can save it so that it will magically get people down the road. It's amazing. It's a person who's politically trying to save the Social Security Administration so he can run as president. And what's amazing about that, it's very ironic, is that you have to then compare Commissioner Martin O'Malley to what we have right now. And I understand people feel very strongly about President Biden. Now, all of a sudden, they magically feel very strongly about Kamala Harris, VP Harris, even though they had no idea of who she was until about a couple of weeks ago. The point is, he is doing an amazing job. He gives Democrats an incredible name. An incredible name. He does. Let me hold on. Let me show you. Okay. This was released by him March 20th, 2024. Social Security announces 4 key updates to address improper payments. Right, let's skip through this. Hold on. Let's go right to the important stuff here. Hold on. All right, here they are. So months ago, this commissioner's like, he ain't screwing around. He comes out with these. Starting next Monday, March 25th, we will be ceasing the heavy-handed practice of intercepting 100% of an overpayment beneficiary's monthly Social Security benefit by default if they fail to respond to our demand for repayment. Moving forward, we will now use a much more reasonable default with withholding rate of 10% of monthly benefits, similar to the current rate in the Supplemental Security Income Program. Amazing pro-claimant rule. How did we not have this? Like, think about that. Just imagine for a moment. We used to have a system up until March 25th, a Monday, up until that day of this year, we used to say to people, and that's the thing, like, a lot of people, they move. They don't update their address. That's why I always tell people, like, just file your taxes, even if all you're filing with the IRS is an updated address, just do it every year. Or fill out a 795 form with the SSA and just send them your new address every single year. You don't know if somebody's hacked your, system and changed your address, change your phone number, just send them an SSA 795 every single year to update it or log into your My Social Security, make sure everything's cool to go. Because if you don't get a notification, they'll pull your benefits. You got 10 days to try and request that they be reinstated. How the hell are you going to know within 10 days that you didn't have benefits other than you're not getting a check? And if you don't call in right away, like I'm not saying anything mean here, but the disabled community, there are a lot of professional procrastinators in it. Professional, commercial level procrastinator. You can say, "How dare you?" But search your heart. Don't be a bullshit artist. Search your heart on this one. So the point is, they're saying, "Look, we'll reduce it by 10%." That's so much more reasonable as a wake up, bro. Something's wrong with your benefits. Then we take them all. You suck, right? We had that system the entire time until basically this March of 25th. Absolutely amazing. So, and that's number one reason of the 4 we're about to cover as to why this bill will likely pass through, either in Congress or he'll go ahead and do an executive, it's an executive order on behalf of the Commissioner of the SSA, but realistically, it's just an emergency message that he puts out on the website. Reason number 2, we will be reframing our guidance and procedures so that the burden of proof shifts away from the claimant in determining whether there's any evidence that the claimant was at fault in causing the overpayment. Let me read it to you again because a lot of you guys don't have a legal background. We will be reframing our guidance and procedures so that the burden of proof shifts away from the claimant in determining whether there's any evidence that the claimant was at fault in causing the overpayment. I know you guys don't realize how big of a deal that was. He passed that. That was earth-shattering to the legal community. You know why? Because when he passed that, it was effective immediately. We are shifting the burden where the SSA has to prove that the overpayment was your screw up, not that you have to prove that basically you're an innocent little baby doe and you never do anything wrong. No, it shifted to them. The burden went on them. And I know you don't understand, and it's hard to explain it to people who aren't in the legal field, but that is massive. To then put the burden on them to have to actually prove that you know, did something wrong here. That's huge. That's huge. A lot of you don't realize that. I understand it. I get it. You know where they take that from? Just so you're aware, they take that from the VA side of benefits because VA veterans, they wrote into the particular statutes, are not likely to be in a state of being, a state of mind, after coming back from whatever service they did, to be able to properly know all the forms, follow everything as they're supposed to, fill everything out as completely as possible. They're not in a proper state of mind. So as a result, they built the system on having other people help veterans get stuff filed correctly. The burden was on the VA to help them. That's where he got this from. Well, maybe he didn't get it from that, but that's the most coincidental, that's the most parallel, linear thing that is, coinciding with this particular item. Again, I'll read it to you one more time. It was huge, a lot of people missed that. We will be reframing our guidance and procedures so that the burden of proof shifts away from the claimant and determining whether there's any evidence that the claimant was at fault in causing the overpayment. That's huge, friggin' huge. Anna Hempel, there we go. Thank you. And also remember, that's awesome. Thank you for the $1 donation. Very, very cool. That's awesome. And Diana Fernandez, we're about to thank for the $2 donation on the prior video. Super thank you for the 99 cent donation for this video. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Now, with that said, just so you're fully aware, here's number 3. Okay, and this is reason number 3 as to why I think this particular bill, just so you guys know what it is, I'll give it to you again so you have it. Hold on, let me get this over here. The Protecting Americans from Social Security Clawback Act, right? That's the bill we're talking about here. That's what's in Congress, the Protecting Americans from Social Security Clawback Act, okay? Reason number 3, I don't think this will even have to pass Congress. I think Commissioner Martin O'Malley would go ahead and just do an executive message. Number 3, this is what he said back in let me get to the exact date here. Hold on. Back in March 20th. All right. For the vast majority of beneficiaries who request to work out a repayment plan, we recently changed our policies so that we will approve repayment plans up to 60 months, spreading the time out, making it a smaller dollar amount that you pay each month. It's like literally, like car dealerships when they're like, we'll let you pay over the next 1,000 years, right? They were doing that. They were giving you more time, which means a smaller amount, you get more money per month, okay? To qualify, the Social Security beneficiaries would only need to provide a verbal summary of their income, resources, and expenses, and recipients of the means-tested SSI program would not need to provide even this summary. Why? Because it was a dumb rule to have SSI people explain why they are poor. It's because they're poor. They're getting $943 max per month. Sweetie's over here bitching me out. We're going to finish this video relatively shortly. Okay. This change extended this easier repayment option by an additional 2 years from 36 months to 60 months. Ergo, you can pay it off with a smaller amount over a long period of time. The final one, which Sweetie is now a part of the show. All right, we'll take you out. Just give him 1 second. I know. All right. Got the spicy diarrhea. All right, number 4. And finally, we will be making it much easier for overpaid beneficiaries to request a waiver of repayment in the event they believe themselves to have been without any fault and/or without the ability to repay. 4 reasons the commissioner will very likely pass this through as an emergency message, and it won't even have to go through Congress. And people who have been punished with massive long-term overpayments, that'll be gone. It'll be gone. I believe this will pass. It's who's ever in office. Biden, Kamala, Trump, doesn't matter. It's a win for any of them. All right, guys. I will catch you in the next video. Give me about 15 minutes. I have to take Sweetie out. That's why. Bottom line is this. Please remember to like, subscribe. Also, go to Google, type in disability resolution, throw some stars up there. I'll be live on usually Mondays and Thursdays. We're going to do a live video now where I answer questions. You know how it works. I use the phone. I got to take Sweetie out. If you want to do the private hour, things below. We'll catch you a little bit later. Have fun and bye-bye. All right. Say bye-bye, guys. All right. Bye-bye, Sweetie.